This guy right here, phone always in his hand, 24/7, in class, while he sleeps, while he's watching a movie. He's not even watching a movie. He just, bro, this kid right here can't live without electronics. This generation. Ow. Hello. What's going on, guys? So this morning I got a phone call from a customer or a subscriber of mine that has been, you know, asking for help for quite some times, and I keep forgetting to, you know, reply back because I get messages, texts, and stuff all day, and if I don't reply to it like right then and there, it goes down the message list, and I just kind of forget about it. So he decided to call me this morning. You know, desperate need of getting his car up and running. It's an EF sedan, and it's been a shell for 3 years because he got screwed over by some local shops. And so I went out to his home, got the backstory of the car, talk about what he wanted to do, and all of that goodness. Spent a good couple hours actually talking to them and getting to know the guy. His little boy was there. He was super excited to see me because his dad told him, "Hey, that's the guy you watch on TV," and here he is in reality. And his son's face was like super priceless. He was just like no way, like that's him. That's awesome. So his car is gonna be making an appearance here at the house soon. Get some work done by me. He trusts me a lot. That's awesome. Like I said, guys, I try to be as real and as raw as possible on YouTube when making these videos for you guys, so you guys can catch the vibe and kind of, you know, my video is for you guys to try to get to know me without even knowing me in reality, so it's not an awkward thing when you guys see me in person. So he's gonna come on board probably in the next week or two, because this week is pretty much booked for what I'm trying to do with this car, and you know, trying to get it raced this weekend. Then every other week after that, I'm free to start working on some side jobs and stuff. So yeah, interior, I didn't get to go to the junkyard to get the door handle, obviously, because I just got home. It's like 4:30. Junkyard was closed on the way home anyways, and I'm not worried about putting on the door panels on right away. But I also didn't work on the console because obviously I didn't pull off the carbon fiber portion of this hood. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the last clip, I took the car for a drive. It has no brakes whatsoever, no pressure, more to say. But I'm going to straighten the car out, jack it up on all fours, take off the wheels, and then I'm going to try to diagnose why this car has no pressure whatsoever, and then change anything that's leaking accordingly. And hopefully by the end of this video we'll have brakes. So I added brake fluid and pump the brake pedal, and there is pressure. There's no leaks on all four corners of the brake system, which is kind of, I don't get it. So there's no leaks, but there was also no fluids. So I'm gonna make him pump the brakes while I bleed it out, and obviously I can see more of a leak if there was a leak. So I'm gonna need you to sit inside the car. There's 3 pedals. No. Pull that bar, push it out. Push it, just push out to the side. Sit down right there, reach the pedals. There's 3 pedals, 1, 2, 3, the middle one. What I want to need you to do is pump 1, 2, 3 times, and on the 3rd one, hold it down. Okay? And then I'm gonna go open the valve in the back. When I open the valve, you're gonna feel the pedal go further down. Roll that window down, so that way when I talk to you, you can hear me. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do that real quick. If there is any visual leaks, I'd see it. If not, and the brake pressure feels good, then brakes will be squared up. So with the help of my little cousin, brakes are bled. There are no leak
anywhere on the line to the caliper itself other than where I bled it. Same goes for the rear, no leaks whatsoever. So this confuses me a little bit because there was no leak to begin with, and there was also no fluids. So I have no idea why adding fluid pretty much stiffen up the brakes. It feels super solid, which is a plus for me. So what I'm doing right now is I hit up a buddy of mine that had some suspension off of his CRX and had the skunk 18K springs on it. He upgraded, I think last year he upgraded to the Blocks competition drag coilovers, and he had the old ones lying around. So I hit him up earlier trying to figure out how much he wants for him. So while the car is up in the air right now, I wanted to try to snag those to install in this car, preload the shit out of it, set my ride height, throw my tires on, my front slicks on. So also today I went to my buddy shop at Wheel Techniques in Santa Clara and dropped off one of my Bogars with the 23s on it because it was bent and it only holds up to 9 pounds, and if I'm trying to run higher, obviously I can't because it leaks air. So that's getting worked on right now. It should be ready for me to pick up tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the suspension today, so the car is going to be on jack stands, but I am trying to button up everything else so that way I can get that all nice and ready, because suspension can always come after. I think I'm going to clean up the engine bay a little bit. The AC harness and stuff are still in here. I need to wire up the fan to the stock fan wires right here, which I do not know why it was running on its own, but I'm gonna need to do that. I might fab up a 3-inch intake with the V-stack coming out the headlight, so that way, you know, direct air. I have some I think they're PLM big tube tri-wise in the backyard, and the measurements are very close. I'm gonna cut these header runners off and cut the B series runners off the flange and then weld it onto this flange, so I have big tubes, obviously more flow, hopefully better power. Got stock cross member. I might be pulling off the Innovative off of that one right there, the old school traction bar, throw it in here so I can have more clearance obviously, and then put the newer Innovative traction bar into the CRX so that way it's drivable again. Depending on my friend, whenever he replies back about the suspension, I'm going to take care of everything else. So, you know, no time wasted. Let's get it. So I'm going to take a quick measurement of the rotor. I know it's kind of dark, you guys can't see it. But what I am doing is I'm measuring from the center the whole diameter of the rotor itself to see the length of this rotor. So the rotor is like right here. This is definitely a DA brake system. So I think my theory is they upgraded the brakes to DAs and didn't bleed the system, or couldn't have done it by themselves, or whatever the case may be, but it's fully bled out. Big brake upgrade, that's a plus. Got the suspension pulled off right here. Right now I'm just cleaning up the engine bay. I pulled out the AC harness right there, unplugged it from the inside, reeled it through. Getting rid of the purge solenoid thing right here. The map sensor is the OBD0, which is on the firewall, and I just took a measurement of this one right here. We are at 60 millimeters, right? And this one right here, we're at 61. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take off this throttle body and switch it out with this guy right here, because map sensor is on the throttle body while this one is external, and we'll get rid of the fast thermal valve or whatever this thing is at the bottom right here. So it's bypassed right there. The only thing is TPS is pretty jacked up. I'm gonna have to whip out my multimeter and calibrate that so that way we don't have a check engine light for it. And I am not 100% sure if the bolt patterns are the same. I'm almost certain that it is. So I'll do that and get rid of this guy. Got rid of the charcoal canister that was sitting right here with all the crazy vacuum lines. Looped it up right there. Just cleaning it up here and there because no whereabouts of the suspension. But if it came down to it, I'm gonna build a suspension anyways, so I would have this set up in case the other ones don't come through. So when I took off this throttle body, there was no gasket here at all. But I took off the TPS sensor, installed it here. I still need to calibrate it, but I got it as close as where the original one was at. Now we got a map sensor on top, so I can eliminate the one that's on the firewall. I have a 62 and a 68 mil throttle body, but they are on my friend's cars. I'm gonna use this for now. This is just a bypass. It really doesn't do anything. If you blow it in one way, it goes out the other way. So instead of connecting the hose through here, I just went from the thermostat housing straight to the idle air control valve on the barb. So straight to the idle air control valve instead of going through these guys, especially because this is B series, D series fashion with the idle air control valve on the back. So this barb is pointing in the wrong direction. I've already moved it, but I'd rather just go straight to the source rather than junction. Probably gonna pull the wheels into the garage and all that and run to AutoZone to get a throttle body gasket, because I know that this car, once it warms up, it fluctuates idle a tad bit. I shot brake cleaner around the area, but it didn't really change much. But now I know it doesn't have a throttle body gasket, and I'm gonna make sure I have one in there. So probably gonna clean up real quick, head out there, come back. I hope I am able to pull the traction bar off of that tonight, because to get to those bolts that goes on the lower control arm, the 217 mils, the shock and everything has to come off, which you know, it's a lot of work. But this one's already taken off, so all I got to do is the one on my CRX, and then I can swap the traction bar over, find mine for the CRX, and reinstall that so I can have a running car. I know I'm talking too much. I called my friend. He is available to trailer my car to the track on Sunday. I just got to go to U-Haul tomorrow, reserve a trailer or get a trailer reserved, so that way on Saturday I can pick it up, load the car up, and get it ready to mob Sunday morning. So that's a plus. Thank you, Barshawn, for that. Truly appreciate you, you know, giving me your time for Sunday. Still a lot of work to do, but you know, I'm pushing. I'm really trying to do a you know, season opener with this car, and you know, feel the H a little bit and see what it's all about. So AutoZone, let's roll. I'm sorry guys for being too dark. Got some more black eyes because one is not enough to get rid of the stench. Got a 60 amp for the fuse box because that one has a short 50. 1 3/4, 1 3/4 pipe for making the extended top hats to my length. Bought a battery box because the battery's in the trunk, and if you can turn around and see the battery from the driver's seat, it has to be enclosed. So battery box with tie down. I'll make a little plate for the actual battery itself, so that way it can, you know, be tied down. Throttle body gasket. I was supposed to bring this with me, forgot, but you know, I got the right stuff there. So I think I'm just gonna go and start taking apart the CRX after I put the throttle body stuff back on here, get the traction bar off of that, throw my innovative like it's mentioned, and get the front end buttoned up. But then I'll get around to modifying the suspension that I currently have. So I took the existing top hat, the 4.5 inch right here, and shortened it down about 1.5 inches maybe, right? So I preset my suspension right there. Budget built, so stock shocks, they're in okay condition, there's no leaks. They rebound a little bit, not a lot as it should. I set that about 2 inches shorter than how it was originally set on the blue suspension on the car. It had a fair amount of gap, so 2 inches down hopefully will bring it over the tire. This is just guesstimating, and I'm making the extended top hat the length of the rod that's sticking up past the spring. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm making it a tad bit taller because when this goes on to the shock itself, a piece of that thread is going to stick out. Obviously it's going to have to thread all of this, so when I'm able to get the nut on top of this 14 strut, and when I impact it down, it's going to preload that spring really nice and tight, so ideally there's no rebound for it to play when the car hits a bump or something, because it's already preloaded and, you know, stuck in that spec, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut the other one. It's like 10 o'clock right now, it's kind of late. I'm taking it down the street away from everybody, so that way it's not you know, noise disturbance. So I'm gonna preload the red spring, the same as that one, take that one off, do both top hats, put them on, and at least try to knock out the rear tonight. I may possibly continue this tomorrow because I'm kind of out of resources right now. I got like half a blade left, so I definitely can't do the front. But oh, and it's chipped. But can't do the fronts tonight, and my friend didn't hit me up about the skunk 18K springs, so I want to have to roll with that. At least have it on the car in case they do bring it like tomorrow or the next day or some shit before the track. Swapping it out is no big deal. Just got to preload it again, whatever. But I want to at least have the car on the ground. The brakes are done, so I want to be able to drive it to make sure the brakes are good before I move on to the next portion. As of right now, I still don't have a battery, so that battery pack is weak. Probably 2 cranks, it kills the battery. It's not enough to turn it over. So since all the changes on the throttle body and everything else that I've taken out and plugged up, I haven't heard the car turn on yet, and that's another goal for tomorrow. So this is the preload I'm talking about. You see how it's not all the way out, the hat's all the way down. What I got to do is I got to put the washer and then a 14 mil, and I got to put my whole weight on it to get that thread portion out of the spacer to thread the 14 millimeter bolt. And then when I zap it in, it's gonna compress the spring as tight as it can until it stops. Yeah. Hey. See you tomorrow. Daylight. So here's a look of everything that I've done last night. All the crap that was here is gone. All the emission control stuff is gone. I'm gonna head to the junkyard, but first I gotta go pick up my wheel from the shop, my slicks, so I can adjust the front accordingly, so I can get it all back on the ground. And yeah, so I got my tools in the car. I'm gonna go pick up the wheel at the junkyard and then start crunching on this while I have a lot of daylight. Cutting it real close. Sometimes you just can't count on people to do a simple task, so gotta make the front stiffen up one way or another. So I left my friend's shop, picked up my one bent wheel. This one had 4 bends. It didn't hold air past 9 pounds. They took care of it. It now has full air. I'm at the junkyard. I'm gonna look for that door handle, small pieces. Probably not gonna spend too much time in the yard, but I walked this whole junkyard. There's only like maybe 4 EF, and I'm at the very end. Not even realizing there's a wagon here. Oh my god, this thing is nasty. Ugh.
Nothing in this yard. I'm gonna pull a door handle, get on out of here. I don't think there's anything else I need, so. Interesting seating in the sedan. It's a 4-door. Bolted in there. It's pretty freaking high. I can't open the door, but my thunder thighs will probably get squished between here. Look at that steering wheel though. And then there's this one right here, which is perfect. It's the driver's side. There's no door panels. It was just sitting here. 2 10mm bolts, and that should come off. Got my door handle installed. It also locks and unlocks. Got my rear shocks installed as well. Oh, close the trunk. But there is no rebound. Pretty solid. What I got to do is drop the car. I'm working on the front ones right now. I'm not going to take the stock springs off, just so I know I have a set of stock shocks for the front. I have these that were in my CRX before when I was riding low, preloaded on another set of extended top hats. They rode amazing. So what I'm going to do right now is I have a set of iBox springs in the backyard, and then there's these blue eBay Coilovers. I'm just going to pull the other ones out, put them side by side, step on it with my fat ass, and see which one has more tension. And then I'm gonna use the blue or the red ones to preload the front ones. But first, I'm gonna throw the stock top hats on, get my spring height adjustment correct, and then I'll make the top hats accordingly, so that way my ride height is where I want it to be. Just take it off and preload the shit out of them. So yeah, starting to look like a race car now. But let me see here. Too low. I'm gonna adjust it right now to get it at least an inch and a half over the tire. The rear is about 2.5, 3. So I want to rake it a little bit. And once I get my ride height all figured out, then I'll pull the shocks back off and do the extended top hat to the amount of shock that goes into the body. And then while the car is back up on the air, I'm gonna pull the traction bar off the CRX, transfer it over, and get rid of that hunk of metal down there. It's like 10:30. I have my buddy come over that's going to be going with me to the track, you know, the bicep 4-door. And we had to change out his rear camber arms because the one that's on his car, it's disintegrated. The only thing that was inside the bushing hole was the spacer and no bushing, so his wheel was like, you could move it in and out. So we swapped them out. One of the bolt was seized in there, so we had to cut it out. We pretty much just talked about our schedules and stuff for Sunday and all of that. He takes off because he has work tomorrow. And then, you know, a few minutes after that, the customer came through to pick up his charge pipe and his valve cover that I welded bungs on. So, you know, spent a cool minute there talking to him since he's about 30-40 minutes away from me. Finally got back to working on the car. Still a lot of stuff to do. Building my top hat right now with some exhaust piping from Vato Zone. So I got my suspension adjusted. It's about 1.5 inches over the tires, and I'm preloading it a little bit more to kind of see how much of a rebound this has, and make the top hat accordingly. So ideally, this is like almost 3 1/4 extended, plus the hat where the bushing sits. Then that's going to get welded to this guy,
and that's how it's gonna look at the end. It's gonna be super tall. It's probably going to protrude out of the hood, but the hood is already cut out for the valve cover, and I'm not worried about it. This is temporarily until I can get some legitimate suspension for the front and possibly the rear if I really need it. So it's 12:30. Here's the top hat, all welded up, one side only, because the other one was still on the car, which is now right there. Check that out real quick. Now this wasn't the cleanest of material, but yeah, anyways, so this is the innovative traction bar that belongs to the CRX. I just moved it over, and I'm gonna take off the old school innovative traction bar from there, put that on this car, put the original innovative traction bar back on that car, so that way the car can be back on the ground for when I need to move it tomorrow. And then once the traction bar is on, then I can finish welding the other top hat, put the suspension in, preload it, try to get it all bolted up. What rain? So I took off the old innovative traction bar, reinstalled the new one back to the CRX where it belongs. Here's the old one, and when I pulled it off, look how loose that is. So that means I've been driving my CRX like that. But no big deal. I'll just tighten it up. I'm gonna reinstall that into this car. Gotta pull the stock tow hook off, and then I had to make these spacers right there because I think it sat too high up where the crank pulley wasn't allowing it to go up, or I think it was, oh no. So I made those spacers because that traction bar goes in the way of the radiator mounting spots right here. So with that spacer, it allows the traction bar to sit a little bit more down, so I don't have to bend those tabs up and kick the radiator up higher than it should. But it's 1:43 in the morning. You guys want to see what a preloaded suspension looked like? So that's the extended top hat right there, 4 inches from the shock tower up. That is a huge extended top hat. So you look at the wheel, the jack is not on it. That's the most that it's gonna go down. So there's no more movement there. Check out the spring. The spring is fully compressed, and you can see there's no gaps whatsoever. In comparison, here's how the other one looks like. So preloading is when the spring is already tensioned and there's no gap on that spring, which means no rebound, which means no play. So I'm gonna end the video tonight. I just wanted to give you guys a quick look on what it is that I'm doing with the suspension. eBay Coilovers stock shocks. We won't know until we hit the track on how good it performs or how much it bounces when the car is back on the ground. Traction bar is also installed. So that's gonna end it for this video, guys. Super late. I want to wrap everything up and get the other top hat fixed without wasting too much time or without going deeper into the night. So if you guys want to stick around and see more progress on this car, definitely subscribe. Hit this like button if you guys are loving the progress that I'm putting into this car, because I know for sure that I am. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.